Es un hombre extraordinario.
Me impresiona mucho.
Pues ¿sabes qué? Yo creo que no es tanto el físico, es más bien la personalidad que tiene y todo lo que proyecta.
Ya me lo imagino con su smoking blanco, un martini en una mano y un costoso habano en la otra.
Provocativo. Atractivo.
A new stereophonic sound spectacular.
Hello there, and welcome to the exciting world of HIP. This is a new departure in language instruction for English-speaking people who want to talk to and be understood by jazz musicians, hipsters, beatniks, juvenile delinquents, and the criminal fringe.
Bonjour madame, bonjour monsieur. Nous allons, grâce à ce disque créé spécialement pour vous, essayer de tirer ensemble le maximum de qualité sonore de votre chaîne haute fidélité.
Sit back, relax, and close your eyes.
Welcome, everybody. The show starts soon. Live on X, live on Rumble. We're live on YouTube, of course, the growing YouTube channel. Amazing, guys. Thank you so much. And let's see, LinkedIn. Are we on LinkedIn? Are we linked out? And welcome to the 10 new subscriber here on YouTube. I see you guys. Thank you so much. The music of Anjuna Beat family. You're listening for this intro. Denis Ruiz. Bienvenido en Agile Lounge. Agile Lounge, I think we say in Spanish. Let's see now the LinkedIn linked out. I'm giving them a little last chance to improve their user experience. Where is, you see, it's like... we're live also on Linked Out from the Agile Lounge by AFJ Business Agility. Is it true that we're live? And once again, for you out there, because I see there's 7 people watching on LinkedIn, I cannot see the chat most of the time. So if you want to interact with me and the rest of the hour, come on YouTube or, mostly on YouTube. So I'll put you the link on the first comment on LinkedIn. So welcome, amazing and beautiful people, to this 144 episode of the Friday Live Agile. That will be here, a tutorial with the DARE Real Agile special edition for this month of March of 2024. So I'm going to lower the music very soon. Unless you like it, I don't know. Let's lower the music here on this. Brought to you by it's Nebula JTech. Makes you wonder. Are you wondering how to be a great Scrum Master, a great Scrum Coach? Let's lower it to this. Yeah, it's still powerful for me. All right, guys. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be before you this Friday, March the 22nd. It's still too loud. I'm clumsy. I was not lowering the volume. I was rewarding the tune. Oh my God, man. Do I need another coffee? Probably yes. Here it's better. So I'm really happy to be before you today for this tutorial that I'm going to do live. As you know, the DARE Real Agile Podcast and the Friday Live Agile Show, for 144 times that I did it. So, there's a chat already to say, okay, perfect. So, for those who don't know me, I'm Alexandre Frédéric. I insist on Frédéric. That's the name I took now. That's my usual name, Frédéric, but my real name is Alexandre Frédéric Joly, or your coach AF, that I made the people laugh at the 25th Scrum Beer. Yes, I'm hyper dynamic in the community of Scrum over Agile, because Agile for software development, it's a thing in the past. We have to talk about business agility, where one of the 12 principles of the manifesto for Agile software development should be empower now and forever, and those fourth industrial revolution that we are entering in. It's more than digital transformation. And when you have complex coding, when you have complex situation, and you need the business people and the IT people to talk together, that's one of the principles that I cherish the most when I train into Agile, and especially in Scrum. For me, I'm all Scrum, all enterprise Scrum. And we're going to talk about the coach that helped to do Scrum today, which is obviously the Scrum Master. And yesterday, that was very interesting, again, to exchange and network with amazing and beautiful people that came. A lot of first-time comer. We were about 30 people, and I will say 75% of you out there that came to the Scrum Beer Montreal, here in Montreal, the beautiful Montreal city, still. And that was just amazing to see that 75% of those people were new. So I hope you're going to come back in June. Yes, the next one's going to be in June. Hopefully, if the weather is clement with us, it's going to be outdoor on the Canal Lachine with no reservation, just an open space. You will join us for maybe the last Scrum Beer for a while, unless some of you in the community and the user group want to take it over with my help and my team's help. But for me, we're going to take a break for the summer. And if you wanted to make it happen for September, you will have to be part of it a little bit more, I guess. So that's going to be the thing. So that was a success again yesterday. People were happy. Even if I was not necessarily happy, because I couldn't deliver the promise that I made to the community of doing some kind of simulation, in terms of talent, agile, and stuff. But at least smile was in the face of many people, and a lot of people were coming back from the last one in November. So I think we are right now finally come back to the early years of the Scrum Beer, when people are sensing this community of practice, this importance of networking, especially to find a job and to find your next gig. So once again, if you are watching this on the very good and most better video platforms such as YouTube and Rumble, subscribe and hit the bell, because once again, almost 80% of you out there watch more than half the show every week, and you are not subscribers. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe, hit the bell to get the notification. And last one thing, are you ready for the halving? The halving is happening now for April. April is going to be an amazing month. I'm going to spend some time in Mexico with my family, my Mayan family in the Yucatan, but the Bitcoin. Too late for you guys if you don't have any, because now it's going to skyrocketing. And I'd like to catch up with the Tadros brothers and others, with the El Salvador, and also the Saint Geneviève here in Quebec, Bitcoin City, and Bitcoin inside everything. So I need to catch up. So after my move this summer, with a summer break, less podcasts, no Scrum Beer, I'm going to be able to focus more, of course, on my client, of course, on my job, my family, and these other projects of Bitcoin inside, Bitcoinpreneur, and the NSTR new social network, open source social network with Bitcoin, and also this project of Bitcoin backed by gold. All right, so it's almost 10 minutes of rambling. My last thing is, are you getting Eclipse ready, my friend? If not, Les Binocles in Montreal area, they offer these beautiful filter for you to catch the eclipse. And this is not a monetizing publicity, because it's for La Fondation Mira, for the people with visual impaired difficulty. They train dogs to help these people with the handicap of eyesight. So that's fine, amazing, like $5, and everything go to Mira, and you could call or go to any branch of Lebinoc, and they will give you those beautiful, it's really well made cartridge, and it could be a nice souvenir for the April 8th eclipse, total solar eclipse. And let's start dreaming and dancing and wishing that it's going to be as beautiful as it is today, March 22nd. So this is about 2 weeks. We need a clear sky like this to enjoy the most of the eclipse, especially this year in Montreal. The first time ever since about 500 years that we have it here, 100%. Even the ring of fire will be appearing. And if you have telescope and even binocular with filter, very important to put filter also into your lens of telescope and binocular, and you'll be able to watch 2 or 1 comets passing by behind the sun, because it's going to be dark for about 3 to 5 minutes, depending how close you are to the 100%. So anyways, enough of this passion of me. I think most of you are coming here today and after, because that's going to be kept, of course, on my YouTube and Rumble channel for you to discover again. It's going to be also in the playlist of tutorial and tips and trips to be a great Scrum Master. So without further ado, so usually, I'm always unscripted here at the Agile Lounge and everything I do. But of course, this one I did write. I did wrote the 13 things a great Scrum Master shouldn't ignore. Yes, too often, that's the problem. But first, what is Scrum? Is it just for software development? And could it be scaled to the entire business? All right. So what is Scrum? I won't go through this right now. You'll be able to catch up on some other videos to explain you what is Scrum. And especially, I invite you to watch the one I filmed in Austin, Texas, with Dr. Jeff Chatelain, the co-creator of the Scrum system for software development. But in a nutshell, Scrum, it's a system. It is not a framework. It is not Agile either. It's from the Lean Toyotis movement and from the HBR paper called the New Product Development and Management from Tashiki Koyamoto. Jeff Chatelain inspired himself from this system of project management and manufacturing, and he brought it up and he adapted it to software development project delivery that come more and more now as a product management setting. Okay, so that was the born of it. And the first guy to use it in his company was Mike Beadle. Mike Beadle, who will become my dear friend, my dear mentor, and everything Scrum. And I was contributing with him into the Enterprise Scrum. And as you know, it's going to be already 6 years tomorrow, the 23rd of March, that Mike been killed in Chicago. So he was the co-signatory of the Agile Manifesto for Software Development. He was the first user of Scrum after Ken Schreiber. He wrote with Ken Schreiber the first book on Scrum. I should have, because it's in the box now. I'm moving, So the first book on Scrum with Ken Schreiber called Agile Software Development with Scrum. And why do people believe or think of the opinion that Scrum and even Kanban are part of an umbrella of Agile, which is completely misunderstood, because Scrum and XP, Extreme Programming, are actually the father and mother of the Agile Manifesto for software development. And Scrum by itself could be configured in many ways because it's an empirical process system that needs to be contextual to your business culture, to your software development cycle, and also to the entire interaction with your customer feedback. Okay, so Scrum, it's a really simple system that you could enable and create frameworks adapted to your exact context of doing business. So that's why it's really great in complex setting. It's really great in startup setting because of its empiricism and substantiation. However, like yesterday, again, a lot of gentlemen said that Scrum is badly implemented. Why? It's because of two things. A couple of things that we're going to see right now that Scrum Master forget to emphasize that Scrum Master forget to take on as their role and responsibility towards management. That should be leadership instead of management. So the problem is not the system itself. You could trust in the system. The problem is in the human, the people that enable it. And unfortunately, since 2016, with the guide that they put out there, a lot of people transform it from a describe system to a prescribe methodology. That's the problem. So they will force you to have a product owner when you don't have to have a product owner. They will force you to have a control and command Scrum Master when it's not the case. Or they will incorporate it with the safe scaling agile framework, which will mean a lot of more process over people interaction, over self-management. So you see, so this is why if you do like a bulldozer, if you do with the impulse, so the second thing is, when I said it's the misunderstood of the power of Scrum, the power of the configuration and subsension, the interrelation and the layer of leadership and architecture that you could enable with a Scrum system, using it for complex discovery and need of empiricism. If it's very, as we say in French Canadian, pépère, it's very like slack, simple. If it's already simple, if nothing is complex, don't use even agile software development. Don't even use Scrum. Keep going with your PMI, project management, or at least put a little bit of Prince2 in it to be more flexible, of course, into your procurement, and that's it. But I mean, stop forcing it. And that's why the second thing that people will say, oh, Scrum doesn't work. It's because it's imposed, but it's imposed with the first mistake of prescribing it with the Scrum Guide. As the Scrum Guide, it's only a description and a foundation of what you could actually create. And this is what I learned with Mike Beadle and Jeff Shutterland, myself. And this is how we unleash. I'm almost at 1,000 team on board into this beautiful system, and they create their own systems. One of the key elements that shows you how much people made up story about Scrum is the Spotify model. There's no such thing as a Spotify model. It's a Scrum-based, managed, and agile leader company that, as a startup and as a disruptor, they build their company based on that very system that I just described. So don't expect me to recite to you this 5 values and the four meetings or ceremony. And you all know that. But the thing is, do you need all of that into your company? And once again, if you work in a value-based company, you better just take the sort of tools, the tooling adapted to your situation to do your R&D, for instance, to make your delivery more productive and with more quality, and incorporate the first thing of the agile software development and business agility, which is putting people first over your technology and your process, which are important, of course, but you know me. So is not just for software development. I did implement Scrum and many organizations that they didn't have software development. Let me tell you that. So it's not a brainer. And of course, with the enterprise Scrum for business agility, that's not the way to necessarily scale it as scaling, because what you want to scale is your business. You want to make more revenue. You want to make a better return on your investment. So of course, the Scrum system applied to the entire business will avoid you the anti-pattern of doing water Scrum fall, and will enable you to put more agile leadership, more everything that the 9 agilities for true business agility that I described a couple of weeks ago, that you could still catch up on my YouTube channel and Rumble channel, inspired by a great article from Mike Beadle. And by the way, after my traveling, I should come back to this series of Mike Beadle Medium article for you into a kind of an audio article spreading them. So now that I describe what is Scrum and the real world in 2024, that is not just for software development, that it could be scaled for the entire business, using it as self-organized, decentralized, and substantive interaction, and putting the customer and user feedback at front. Who's the Scrum Master? So the Scrum Master is not a servant leader. No. I hear it in Agile Boston from the master itself, Dr. Shutterland. It's mostly better to say, especially in English, that it's a leader. It's a leader of a team. It's a leader maybe of an organization that serve its people and its customer all at once. Okay? So that is what a Scrum Master. And a Scrum Master is a coach. You don't need an Agile coach if your organization choose the Scrum system with the lean design thinking to evolve, not transform, to evolve your way of working. Abstrad, as we say in Swedish. Abstrad is the ways of working. And this is how the Agile Software Manifesto open. Let's together uncover new ways of doing things, of producing value, you know? So the Scrum Master is there to remind the team about that and to enable the power of self-management within the substantion architecture, within the interrelation agreed. So it's an invitation-based and agreement-based for real self-manage. All right? And the client is king and queen. Without client, you don't have business. So that's it. So the Scrum Master is a coach, is a facilitator, is or she is a trainer. And let's delve into the 13 things that a great Scrum Master or a great Scrum Mistress, as I like to say for my listener in Oslo, Norway, you should not ignore by performing your duty. So number one, it's having no strategy. Now, I just realized that I wanted to create card to go on screen. Sorry about that. It's going to be like this. For the visually people, sorry about that. So number one, having no strategy. If you're a Scrum Master, and if you are a Scrum Master listening to this, and you have to remember one thing, Scrum is not the strategy. You need a strategy and a clear vision to help a team slowly adopt Scrum with the empiricism process in mind. So if you don't have one, get one soon, okay? So it's really important to have a strategy as a Scrum Master, as a Scrum leader, as a Scrum coach to do this. Number two, super long stand-ups or daily. It's happening often because people take it as a meeting, so they should enable themselves. By the way, this should be a tutorial by itself. I do it in my training. We do a simulation. We do pros and cons. So why is it that we describe a daily stand-up that should last for a team of 8 or 9, about 15 minutes, which is about 2 minutes each, not to report on the progress of the delivery that could be addressed into the review for the product and into the retrospective for the process. But here, what we talk is, well, daily stand-ups are kind of essential, especially at first for newcomers, new adopter. They can become time-consuming and counterproductive if not facilitate well. You have to keep them short, focused, and actionable. If you do it in the morning or at the beginning of your shift with the team, that should be a coordination and preparedness of who do you need to remove your impediment, because the Scrum Master won't remove the impediment for you. It will facilitate, once again, the fact that you could have meeting or you could have workshop with people outside the team, for instance, with enterprise architect, with solution architect, what have you, any people from the business, or among the team. The daily stand-up should be kept short, not discussing in detail about the issue on the impediment, but about who is in the team or outside the team could I coordinate to solve it, okay? So instead of asking the 3 stupid questions, you should ask more like, you should facilitate it with, what do I need today to achieve my sprint goal or my product goal even better, okay? So avoid at all costs. You should not ignore that if your teams have long stand-up, question yourself. It should be kept below 15 minutes, should be coordination for further, more interesting with exactly the right people at the right time to solve any issue. Number 3, avoiding talking about impediment. Yeah, often nobody wants to talk about impediment. Everything goes well unless it's not true. So impediment makes your role as a Scrum coach indispensable. You got to embrace the discomfort that comes with dealing with impediment. Ignoring this responsibility can slow you down and slow the team and impact the product goal and impact even the business. So, and again, depending on your business culture, you have to be very careful. More often, I see as a consultant that leadership or the CTO is putting a lot of pressure on the Scrum Master to solve it for the team, reducing the self-management and autonomous of treating people as responsible adults. So again, here, don't avoid talk about impediment because management expects you as a Scrum Master to do it. Make sure that you have a great agreement with the team and then you empower the team to do it and use the daily stand-up to coordinate who will be what about that and ask them, how could I serve you? Because you're a leader that serve. So how could I serve you? How could I help you getting this meeting from someone outside the team to solve the issue? But again, the Scrum Master is not responsible to remove the impediment, but he is responsible not to avoid talking about that and be at service of every stakeholders inside and outside the team to address them. Number 4, letting the team skip writing acceptance criteria within the definition of done agreed. Yes, no acceptance criteria mean no way to tell if your user story or your task description is done. Such user stories and task description can become an endless reservoir for stakeholder demand, like a ticket system, and have your backlog wreck. So it's very important that any specialist you have in your team, any developer, any SME, any designer, any whoever the stakeholder is, that should contribute to the definition of done with acceptance criteria. So it's very important as a facilitator, as a coach, Scrum Master, you let the team write the acceptance criteria. You don't do it for them, and you don't let the product owner alone do it for them. They have to do it with their expertise. Okay, really important. Number 5, underestimating facilitation. Yes. Agreement on sizing is really important for the team. Now, you want to use the Fibonacci sequence, the size, do whatever you want. What is here really important is the facilitation of the Scrum Master. To be a great Scrum Master, you have to address this elephant in the room, even if you're engineer or some people from the business and marketing won't like to talk about estimating, and they will start underestimating. So this facilitation is not just about leading the meetings or the workshop on sizing and estimation or the psychology of estimation for the agreement. It's about ensuring effective communication, resolving conflicts, and guiding team toward a common goal, toward that product goal, that solution goal. What are you here to deliver together for the client? So you have to be very precise, because this sizing thing, this estimation thing, and the facilitation will help the team know better is pace. Okay? So it's all about pacing. Don't talk to me about burn-down chart. No, there's no KPI here. It's about this. Resolving conflict by doing calibration of sizing to agree on how many sprint or how many iteration I will need to accomplish this. So don't underestimate and this facilitation, okay? And facilitation on everything, okay, to guide the team towards this common goal, to be a performant team. Number 6. Number 6, skipping retrospective. Okay, that's a big debate. Sometimes with more mature team that they have 1 week iteration sprint, I might agree to consult them and to coach them about not necessarily skipping them, but not impose it to everyone, or to make sure that there's a working agreement within the team, especially when they have short iteration, to maybe do it every 2 iteration, not at every end of iteration. So if you have a 1 week sprint factory, of course it's becoming for both the team and the facilitator who is the Scrum Master to do something like very exciting. So skipping the retrospective, as I mentioned here, okay, to respect this described guideline, it's shocking but true. A lot of Scrum Masters are okay with letting the team skip retros. Skipping them can lead to repeated mistake and miss opportunity of improvement, which is very important in the empirical process, right? Empiricism. So which is what SM role is all about. So if you want to be a great Scrum Master, don't accept from your architect or the big tough God engineer in your team to skip the retrospective. Just adapt it according to your cycle. So instead of skipping them, you keep them in the agreement, but you could change how often this is happening. But if you go with a 3-week sprint, you better, because it's all the process, it's all the working agreement, and it's all of the above that we already see that you could actually address. And now you don't need to do a big show. You don't need this island retrospective, this Jedi Master retrospective. You could also keep it simple, right to the point, with 3 columns, and have also a space, an open space for people to kill some misagreement on things, on how to do this. And you could also use that time at the end of the sprint to review your process, your working agreement, and so on. So instead of skipping it, it's like in contact center. Instead of doing voluntary time off, maybe you better provide time offline, off contact, for them to train and everything. So take that moment at the end of the sprint, instead of skipping it, to maybe address something else, to maybe do a workshop on something that they might learn to improve together, and ask them up front, of course. Okay. Even in the planning, you could start asking that. So don't skip the retrospective unless there's a clear agreement that you could modulate otherwise. Number 7 now, vague backlog items. Yeah, that's the responsibility of the Scrum Master to teach, coach the product owner or the business owner about this. So ambiguous backlog items lead to confusion and waste effort. So it's not lean anymore. As a Scrum Master, you must ensure that each item is well-defined, prioritized, and understood by the team and clarified by the business. Okay, so that is in no way consequence. Actually, that should be your first responsibility towards the strategy, product vision, helping the product owner enable it. Okay, you should never lead the team to accept these vague backlog item. If it's vague, if it's a 21, if you use if even a 13, if you use the Fibonacci sizing, put it back to the business, to the product backlog, not into your sprint backlog. Number 8, leaving matrix to the team. Well, as a Scrum Master, you should be comfortable dealing with simple agile metric, like a lot of things that velocity, burn down chart, and cycle time. Wrong. These metric can provide some insight into team performance of process efficiency. So you have to facilitate and explain them a couple of these agile metrics. And remember that the velocity, it's owned by the team. It's owned by the number 5, underestimating facilitation. So for you, as Scrum Master, it's really important that you facilitate and you teach about this company if they don't know. If they're mature enough, it's just enabling a great space to talk about it. But the matrix is to the team. Again, it's part of the self-management. You could receive a kind of a order or request from the business that could we have some visibility into it. So it's your role important. The matrix should be actually the dashboard, the visibility. So yes, you are responsible to gather the information from your team and to put it into the performance evolution of your delivery. So that should be something like that you take care as a Scrum Master, but you make sure that the team understand enough what they need. And again, if I come back to velocity, it goes to the psychology of estimation. Don't underestimate. Make sure that you promise the right thing for the end of your sprint and for the end of this delivery that will probably repeat again whatever you developed in. So, of course, this one might need a more context, but it's really important as DSN that you should be comfortable with dealing with the simple agile matrix. And instead of velocity, burn down, talk about customer feedback, talk about the velocity that it's owned by the team to promise a better pace. Number 9, overlooking sprint reviews. Oh, yes, that's a big, huge, and people need to understand retrospective. It's for process and working agreement. Sprint review are for the product itself or the solution that you deliver to review its functionality, feature, component, what have you. So sprint review are not just a box thinking exercise. It's an idea generation machine. Make sure the team gets at least 3 action items at the end of each sprint review and enhancing the collaboration with the business. Those are requests, that product. So don't make it as a big demo, a big kind of UAT back in the classical project management. No. For me, it's an idea generation machine, and a great Scrum Master will actually make sure that each team member will have 3 action items at the end of each sprint review for them to improve what they do and to have the proper right feedback within those action items. Okay? So OKR, objective key result, will help to be implemented into those sprint review that will provide input for the product backlog refinement. You see, it's all empiricism cycle. Number 10 out of 13 things a great Scrum Master should not ignore. So the number 10 is too little planning. Oh, goodness, that I've seen it often, especially for those teams who think they know better and they could deliver after every week, and they say, oh, we don't need Scrum, we should do Kanban. Yes, okay, even Kanban, there's a lot of planning, and it's continuous planning. Not every week, not every 2 weeks, not every 3 weeks, every fracking hour with Kanban. So be my guest, guys, but too little planning in terms of if you go with iteration and incremental development, no. So agility, if you want to move agile, doesn't mean that you should not plan. Quite of the contrary. It means don't plan ahead of your headlights. Create a balance between planning and doing. And the doing should give you enough outcome to create input for the next planning and to adjust into the retrospective for the process again and into the sprint review with clear action item. That's it. So planning, it's probably the most important thing if you don't want to fail using incremental and iterative software development and even implementation of a business product or a business solution. Number 11, one-size-fits-all process. Scrum Master and those who call themselves Agile Coach, my ass, or even consultant in organization change management that work for big firms such as CGI, Accenture, McKinsey, Boston Consulting Group, name all of those bullshitter. They think that the Scrum Guide is a fucking one-size-fits-all process. They think that because what they did at Barclays Bank, they could do it at National Bank. And even worse, they think what happened at Spotify for an audio player, streaming services, could be applied into a big bank in Amsterdam. What a fucking lazy monkey you are thinking that. One-size-fits-all process. If you're a Scrum Master and you're insecure, you're anxious, and you just go by the book of your little CSM or PSM certification, and you impose that one size. You all do the same thing. Do you really think that in my 937 teams towards the last 20 years, I did the same thing? Of course not. I've got about 1,000 way of configuring Scrum. Okay? Because I'm curious and I ask questions to all stakeholders. It's not just about the team. It's all stakeholders that gravitate around the team. So this number 11 is dear to my heart when I wrote it. Scrum is great Scrum is very great, especially in complex setting that will require empiricism, but doesn't always work. So stop forcing it. Stop acquiescence to a CTO or a leadership that just want to implement and impose Scrum. And that you'll do it as a one-size-fits-all, because a consultant will have give you a paper of 9 pages of bullshit, such as McKinsey and Company, CGI, all of those poor, lame, duck agilist. Okay? So each team is unique. Each enterprise is unique. Each customer relation is unique. And what works for one may not work for another. So as a great Scrum Master, you have to be the keeper of this openness, of this empiricism, to avoid the one-size-fits-all, to avoid this imposition. Be flexible and adapt your approach based on the team's needs and dynamics. Be curious, ask questions, ask them how much they need outside input. Because now, of course, we talk mostly at the team level, because when I coach Scrum Master, they start at the team level, but that goes for everything. Everything. So if you're a Scrum Master and you've been practicing it with 2-3 teams, now you start consulting the leadership, it's important that you apply it to the enterprise level as well. Okay? So no one size fits all. Don't avoid it. Don't avoid it, because that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem with the Agile Paradoxon we did a couple of weeks ago. It's part of why people say Scrum and Agile fail, because of the imposition and the one-size-fits-all. And I am tired of talking about it. It's time to make action. It's time to be courageous enough. It's one of the 5 values of Scrum. It's time to be courageous enough and to say to the CEO and especially the CTO or the CIO, whatever, like those motherfuckers, I think that they know everything with their MBAs. Huh? MBAs in English, I cannot do it like in French, but it's a master en bon à rien. Yeah, stop it. It's not because you work at Valtech, you're so great, you could implement things. Of course, you have an experience, you could bring it with you. But at first, you should be listening. That's a blog that I have that I will transform into a podcast. To be a great consultant and business agility, stop talking a little bit and ask more questions. Be curious. You'll be able to avoid to bring with you your little framework, your little canvases of one size fits all. So it's really important for a Scrum Master not to fall for it and to stand with the team, to stand with the customer, and make a great Scrum configuration that will be adapt to the needs and dynamic. Because remember, you're a leader who serve. You're not a leader who order, control, and command. Number 12, not repeating yourself, like I kind of did sometimes in my podcast. I know that, Coach AF. So not repeating yourself. As a Scrum Master or as a Scrum Mistress, you may need to communicate key objectives in different ways to help the team and the organization realize the value behind a particular practice or particular doing. Why are we doing this? How do we do this? Don't be shy. A Scrum Master should not be shy or too much introvert. I'm sorry about that, but you should be upfront. You should be the communication bee. You should be the one like orchestrate everything. So you have to be upfront. So yes, repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat again. It's a mistake not to repeat yourself. You have to. And the only time that you will stop repeating yourself is when your team is mature enough, and then you could even let them do a couple of ceremonies alone, and you move on to another team to enhance it. So it's always like 3 to 4 teams maximum, and hopefully that you have an onboarding, 2 teams in evolution, and 1 team that you let go, and the cycles go on. If you work for a large-scale organization, if you work for a smaller organization, there are only a couple of teams. In that case, that will be another context. But generally speaking, Don't be shy to repeat yourself. That's not a sign of they don't listen. That's not a sign that, no, it's just a sign that you need to communicate those key objectives in different ways. Don't repeat the same phrase the same way, but repeat yourself. And finally, number 13 of things great Scrum Master should not ignore. It's becoming the bitch of the business owner or the product owner, or even worse, one of the senior VP in the C-level suite. Avoid it at all costs. You are a leader who serves, and you also protecting the team to achieve what is asked of them. So, and especially here in Quebec, and I see it a little bit in the rest of Canada, United States depends, it's really various, but more often, especially again when they impose a framework, which is discipline agile, the CPA MAC, or the SAFE things. So they impose something, and they impose a scaling model that, in with the one size fits all, they diminish your role, your importance as a Scrum Master. They diminish it at the point that you become almost like a PCO, a project controller officer. You're just dealing with metrics and dashboard, and you are organizing and you are reserving a Zoom call or room into places, and you become more like a secretary, a bitch, and the PO is giving you order, the business owner is giving you order, all the VPs are coming to you and say like, organize this, do this, and do that. That's the thing that you should not ignore if you experience it. I know it could be hard. If you don't have access to a consultant or a coach like me within your organization, if you don't have a community of practice where you could address it, I don't know what to tell you in this episode that ends right now. But what I'm telling you is don't become the bitch of all the leader or the product owner. Product owner and a Scrum Master and a rugby or football team should be working together as defense and offensive strategy again. Okay? And as a leader who serve and protect the team, you should be able to walk into the CEO office and ask him what you need to resolve impediment, not the other way around. And you're not resolving the impediment. You make sure that the team will be able to do it with the tools and the support of the leadership. So here, my message to you, Scrum Master, is start create this real agile culture, this real agile leadership by talking about it, and not just do as you're told, but be a disruptor professionally to enhance this. So, my beautiful and amazing people, I hope you liked it. This very special live tutorial. I'm sorry I didn't have the ticker. I forget about it. I'm so busy. So next week, it's the end of March. It should be the DARE REAL Agile podcast. That's going to be about one of these Mike Biddle article from Medium. I don't know which one, so it's going to be a surprise. So on that, I wish you a beautiful and amazing weekend. It's the weekend before the Semana Santa, before Easter. And always remember, as a Scrum Master, who you really are. You are the coach. You are the process enabler. You are the powerful leader who serve the team, serve the organization, and make sure everything goes well. You don't have to do anything. You have to be present. You have to be at the service of every stakeholders, and don't be the bitch of any leader. You work for the entire product or solution goal. And to all of you out there, remember that you are a beautiful person. You are powerful, and you are free to be whoever you wanted to be and to do whatever you wanted to do in respect of one another. Coach F is signing off. Cheers, guys.